All right, it's all yours.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here with you guys today and to speak about the Folklore Society of Greater Washington. I might be calling it FSGW from here on out. They've been a long-time supporter and cultivator of folk arts in the DC area. My name is Ingrid Gorman. I've been involved with the Folklore Society for many decades. I think the first time I was involved, I was in my 20s and I had just moved to Washington, D.C., and I saw an opportunity to volunteer. And I helped put up a tents for the big Washington Folk Festival. Now, skip ahead many decades later, and I'm still on the board, serving another term for the Folklore Society as publicity chair. And I'm still on the programming committee for the Washington Folk Festival. I'm a retired data analyst. I spent most of my career at Discovery Channel, and now I live in Pittsburgh, closer to where I grew up. I'm also the programmer of the Wheaton Arts Folk Festival, which takes place in late September, but that is not FSGW oriented. So that's just a little bit about me. So FSGW was founded in 1964. And by the way, I want to say to Liz, if I say anything incorrect or I leave something out, please let me know. Liz has been involved with FSGW for a long time as well. So it was founded in 1964 by a group of friends promoting concerts. And now we have greatly expanded with participatory dance with lessons ahead of time, song circles, concerts, festivals, and special events. And the goal of the organization, it's nonprofit and membership oriented, is to further the understanding, investigation, and appreciation of the folk arts in the DC area. And we have around 200 events a year, combining all of those prongs. Everything, by the way, is family oriented. So families are always welcome and they have a great time. Okay, let's talk about dancing. So these are the different styles of dance that usually FSGW hosts or co-sponsors. There's the contra dance. As you can see, the partners form long lines and there's a caller, and the caller teaches and then gives instructions during the dance. There's an English country dance, which is more elegant, more flowing. International folk dances, square dances, and waltz. And as I already mentioned, you can always get a lesson ahead of time if you want to join a dance. So here's what we do on Wednesdays. There's an English country dance in Glen Echo. There's international folk dancing weekly in Greenbelt. We have a Silver Spring contra dance at the Rec Center monthly. I can't remember if it's the second or third Thursday, but it's on a Thursday every month. And then there are special events like the spring ball, the barn dance, and contra star. And I put the web link there so that you could go check out dances. And I have been involved here and there with dancing, and I've always found it great fun. Here's some pictures of people having great fun dancing at Folklore Society events. The one on the upper right is the Silver Spring Contra Dance. And that is co-sponsored by Carpe Diem Arts, which is based in Silver Spring. Concerts. We have, it used to be a concert once a month. Now I think it's a more flexible scheduling than that. But we have coming up a Swedish folk music group that's going to be playing on May 10th. And I believe that's a house concert, so you would have to RSVP if you want to attend. And usually house concerts have a suggested donation to the band, which goes directly to the band. In this photo on the slide, you'll see the second from the left is Charlie Pilzer, and he is owner of Alley World, which is a recording studio in Tacoma Park, and he's recorded many local musicians, and he's going to be our president again starting this summer. Okay. And of course, we've had great concerts in the past. I was just trying to rack my brain of everybody who's ever played. We've had famous people like John Doyle and Archie Fisher, Gordon Bach, Bob Zentz. But we try to get a lot of new local groups that are coming through and to introduce new folk music as well as the traditional style. Song circles. This is where we go around and everybody sings a song. You can play it with an instrument or not, or just sing a song. And sometimes they're topical, so they'll say this is a theme about trains, and then you come and try to find a song about trains. Everyone is welcome. The next one is going to be May 8th, and there's an opportunity to go in person. It's in Silver Spring at the Schweinhaut Senior Center in Forest Glen Road, or you can join via Zoom. Okay, I've got two different PowerPoints going up here. Storytelling is another important prong of the Folklore Society of Greater Washington. There are regular events, and they are held at the Busboys and Poets in Tacoma, DC, but they also have a Zoom option so you don't have to go to Tacoma, DC, even though it's really fun to be in person. And so these are second Wednesdays of each month, something called what we call the Grapevine. And it's hosted by Tim Livengood, who's also on the FSUW board, a storyteller himself, also a NASA scientist, and he's also involved with the Washington Folk Festival. The other big prong of what we do are festivals. The biggest event every year would be the Washington Folk Festival. It has been reduced in size, and I can explain that a little bit. But it used to be 2 days, 2-day festival right after Memorial Day, and we would have 7 stages and about 10,000 people coming. And oftentimes we would get written up in the Washington Post, and we'd have many famous people singing there as well. Mary Chapin Carpenter sang at the Washington Folk Festival before she hit it big. But we have other Grammy winners and so forth that we invite to be part of the folk festival. Let me see here. So the festival is free. Everybody volunteers their time, from staff like me to the performers and the sound engineers. Everybody does that, so it's free to the public. This one is not on Zoom. It was only once during the pandemic, but otherwise it's in person at Glen Echo Park. This year it's going to be at August 23rd. And I'd like to see if I can show you this great video. Let's see if it works. And this will give you a taste of what the festival looks like in case you've never been.
Well, doesn't seem to be coming up.
Okay, so no video. Oh, you know what? Let me try this again because I think I have to switch the screen sharing.
Yeah, you might have to stop
Stop.
sharing this.
Okay, hold on. That work?
Um, I'm just seeing a PowerPoint slide. Well, there we go. But it's kind of laggy and I don't hear any sound.
Right, I'll just go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, sorry that I couldn't share that video. I can always send it along. It's just a interesting collage of all the dancing, the musical styles, from everything from American uh, jazz, blues, gospel, bluegrass, old-timey, etc., to singer-songwriters that are creating new music and all kinds of international acts. We try to get people from all over the world. They have to be DC based. One of the things that I wanted to let you know was the Washington Folk Festival was created by a few board members way back. We're in our 43rd year this year, because they had heard local music happening, but knew it wasn't being showcased anywhere. The Smithsonian Folklife Festival usually has international acts, national acts, and the National Folk Festival, which was moves around but was close to DC at that time, wasn't showcasing on purpose, deliberately, any of the local talent. So this is all local talent, and everybody is stage worthy. And as I mentioned before, some people have won Grammys, some people have won Whammys. And so we have a programming committee. I'm the chair of the programming committee, and I've been on it for 10 years. And we evaluate by either going to see them in person or they submit videos, YouTube, MP3s, so that we can gauge their stage worthiness. This is a little bit blurry, but this is trying to give you a sense of the diversity of music, genre, style, country of origin, etc., that we typically have at the Washington Folk Festival. Now, it used to be a 2-day event, as I mentioned before, 10,000 people, but and Glen Echo Park used to give us the park for free to stage this festival and put up big tents. But now they've changed their modus operandi, and they're thinking more about the archaeology of this historic site. And so they don't want us to put up big tents anymore with big stakes in the ground. And also, it costs us a lot of money now to rent the park. They're becoming much more event oriented. So we're still offering for free, but it's a 1-day event now, and we hope we'll go back to 2. There's also another festival called the Mini Fest. Now, Mini Fest was called Mini Fest because it was 1 day. Washington Folk Festival was 2 days. This takes place it used to take place at Tacoma Park Middle School, but now it's in Alexandria. Our current president, Lucia Schaefer, is a music teacher at this school, Brown Academy. And so she has arranged for us to rent the school, usually in March. So look for that next year in March. Again, free. Here's another great event called The Getaway. I'd never been to it, and the first time I went, I thought, this is magical. It's down on Maryland's West River, so you're on the west side of the Chesapeake Bay. There's cabins, and so we sleep in bunk beds. And some of the cabins are designated for music all night long, so you're prepared for that. And some are designated more quiet. But they invite musicians to be guests to hold workshops. And we also have concerts, so you can sign up and get yourself on the stage at night, and there's jams. But it's very educational, heartwarming, beautiful community. And I would highly recommend that you go to that if you are interested. This year it's in October 2026. Now, the Folklore Society relies on members for its income to some extent. We do apply for grants for some of the major festivals, but members, it's only $25 a year, and you get free admission to 2 dances and 2 concerts every year, that's more than get your value's worth there. And then you get discounts on paid admissions to many other events. So the online newsletter access I just tried it, and I believe anybody can access it. And it gives you, this is just a screenshot of the front page for May, but it lists all kinds of things happening around the area. And so the Folklore Society has been an important outlet for announcing events that are going on with dancing, music, concerts, and storytelling that are many times not our own. And so actually, I thought I was going to take a lot longer to give this presentation. I think I missed some of my notes, but I can open it up to questions now. And I'll stop screen sharing.
Okay, I had a question, and this is one I don't think you'll find any factual information, but I'd like your theory. Most of A large number of FSGW members are analysts or scientists. And, before I joined, I'm like Ms. English Lit major, and I thought we'd all be quoting ballads to one another. And instead, I find these people who are incredibly analytical and numbers oriented. And I just am kind of curious as to the personality. Also, sci-fi is huge for members. There's a personality that goes with it.
In graduate school, I studied data analytics. I wrote my paper on the effect of the arts, music on SAT scores. And it's hard to tell what comes first, whether introduction to music, which is very mathematical, especially if you read music, builds your brain, or your brain naturally goes toward music because you're oriented that way. But they seem to go hand in hand. People who study the arts, or children who study the arts, tend to score better on math and science. So I don't know, Liz. I think everybody comes to folk music, from the youngsters to everybody. But you're right, there seems to be a proclivity there.
I have a question. How many members are in the Folklore Society?
Great. That was in some of my notes, which I didn't talk about. There used to be a couple thousand members, but we had an issue, and that is the Folklore Society was founded by a group of friends, right, in 1964, and a lot of those people have moved on off planet Earth. They're no longer with us, and we have been only moderately successful in trying to get new members into the fold, especially younger. Now, it could be the way we look from the outside. I don't know. Also, the pandemic, a lot of people had their memberships lapse because we weren't meeting in together anymore for a while, a couple of years. But the benefit of that, if there is any benefit to the COVID pandemic, was that now we have a lot of offerings that are on Zoom. But sometimes people say, so now I think we're down to around half of what we used to be in terms of members. And some people will say, oh, the younger generations don't like folk music, or they're not into it. And it's certainly not true. We have examples of other groups like the Hamlin Street Diner. Liz, help me think of another one if possible. They pack them in.
Jesse Wells, Carsey Blanton. Folk music is huge on Instagram.
Yes, it is.
The Reston Herndon Folk Club has the Arts Barn, where you have a very diverse crowd.
Right. So changing our logo to something more colorful. It used to be kind of brown, and it looked like it was a banjo, but the Folklore Society is so much more than that. And we're working on it. We're trying to figure out, we changed the logo to be much more bright. So we're working on it. And for example, the Folklore Society has tapped into something called Youth Trad Song Weekend, which is all young people, and older people get in by lottery over 50. So, and so we have partnered with them to try to swap some performers in each of our events, like the Getaway and their Youth Trad Song Weekend, to try to attract a younger crowd. Because if we want the society to live into the future, we need people to join our membership or just come to our events.
Got a comment here about Mary Cliff, who was on the radio for the longest time. Said she was a star in the Folklore Society.
Still is.
Yeah.
So yeah, so as you know, she had her long-running show on WAMU uh, called Traditions, and then she switched to local Arlington WERA low power station, and she just retired. But she still is the MC for the Cuddle Up stage at the Washington Folk Festival. She's done it every year for 43 years. I don't know. And we love her and adore her. And I believe she was one of the founders of the Folklore Society.
A question here. Is the Folklore Society focused mainly on American folklore or any type of folklore, music, dancing?
Any type. So the Washington Folk Festival, for example, all local performers, they live in DC, but they could have countries of origin from Japan, Ukraine, India, and then all different kinds of American styles. So we try to cover the gamut. And with dancing, there's international dancing, there's English country dancing, and then contra waltz.
Okay, question here. If you could maybe restate where the various folklore society events take place. It sounds like they're kind of scattered around the area.
Sure, let me see here. Okay, so if you wanted to participate in dancing, there's an English country dance at the Glen Echo Town Hall on Wednesdays. The International Folk Dancing is in Greenbelt, Maryland. The Silver Spring Contra Dance is in Silver Spring, right on Ellsworth there at the new center. And then the special events, I don't know, Liz, do you know where the Spring Ball, the Barn Dance, or Contra Stock take place? Those also might be at Glen Echo.
They seem to be very Maryland centric.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and one of the past presidents of the society, April Blum, has her own ballroom that she built with her house and her husband, Jerry, and that is in Maryland. I want to say Hyattsville, somewhere around there.
That area, yeah.
And so they have dances at their house as well. As for concerts, we usually do them at Seekers Church, which again is in Tacoma Park, DC, right near the Tacoma Park metro station. But they can be house concerts, and those can be anywhere. The mini fest, as I think I mentioned, the storytelling takes place at Busboys and Poets in Tacoma, DC, that one, but it's also on Zoom. And then the Washington Folk Festival is in Glen Echo Park, has been in its entire life. And the Midwinter Festival switched from Tacoma Park, Maryland to Alexandria. So at least right now we've got the Midwinter Festival in Alexandria at the Brown Academy.
Do you foresee more Zoom sessions to try and gather more attendance at jam sessions and song circles and things like that?
Well, yes and no. As you know, being a Zoom administrator person, you can't jam online together. It doesn't work. So if we do a song circle online, which we do, the Wednesday song circle, everybody takes a turn and then you go on mute to share your song.
Okay, and Liz had a related comment that that's a program for, she says, for older people.
It
The song
takes place,
circle?
yeah, it
Yeah.
takes place at a senior center and
Yeah.
originally older people, but a lot of people, I wouldn't, people who are not elders take part.
Right. Especially since you can zoom in. Mhm. So
Yeah.
oh, any more questions?
A few comments, yeah. One comment said it sounds like it might be a good idea to integrate other musical genres into your lineup from time to time just to mix things up.
Are there any suggestions?
Not so far.
I'd like
Okay.
Latino music, mariachi. I love to learn that. What happens is, though, there are a lot of groups, if you go to the newsletter, there are people who, these aren't official FSGW programs, but you can learn about groups that do Balkan music, mariachi music, cooking classes, all that stuff. So there are sort of fellow travelers that you can find out about through FSGW. It's like we're a big tent for a lot of different things. There are official programs, and then there are sort of things that we tend to gravitate to. So folk is a huge tent.
Yeah. And so of course mariachi shows up at the festival, but not regularly. Uh,
Do FSGW members attend or participate in events at Arlington community centers?
I am unsure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the
And
national
could,
question, that was interesting. Do we still, I know one year there was an FSGW sort of group that performed on the mall, but I don't know if it's ever been repeated. I know Lisa was there, and I forget who the
Yeah,
other
I know what you're
people were.
talking about.
Yeah.
They led a song circle. Are you talking about the Smithsonian?
Yeah, the
Like,
Smithsonian Folk
yeah, they led a
Festival.
song circle there.
But they haven't been able to do it in following years. That was a special thing for local. I think that DC was a featured place in that
Okay.
Smithsonian Festival.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be right.
I have another question. Can you talk a little bit more about storytelling? You know, what is it? What type of events do you have around it?
Uh, so So it is the second Wednesday of each month. We have a live in-person storyteller. So these people are vetted by Tim Livengood, who I mentioned before is on our board, and also Renee Brockfield. So there's very high quality in the storytelling, and the storytelling can be anything. It could be like a true story, or it could be a fairy tale. So they can be fiction and nonfiction. And so those happen in person in Tacoma Park, DC, but you can zoom in on those.
It's sort of like The Moth. If you listen to public
Right, Moth
radio or
Radio.
This American Life,
Hmm.
people talking a lot. I mean, it can be any story. A lot of times people will retell folk tales, but
Hmm.
there are also people who talk about things that happen to them in their daily life.
Yeah. And they just happen to be expert at telling it.
Oh, shape note singing. Excellent question. Shape note groups. We used to have a list of shape note groups on the website, but I haven't seen that in a while.
For
I don't
people who
think
may not be,
FSGW, yeah.
I was going to say, for people who may not be familiar with the term, could one of you explain shape note singing?
Shape note, the couple times that I've participated, is a way of writing out music in a do, re, mi, fa, sol, like the kind of way, so that people don't really have to read music per se. They just need to know what that one little note sounds like. And it's often sung in that kind of uh, parlance, if you will. And it tends to be religious.
And people, they have groups, and they basically get together in their parts in a square, and they will sing a whole afternoon, and it's beautiful, gorgeous music. Um, but do
We
we?
probably,
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably somewhere in the newsletter.
Yeah, it would be in the newsletter, you're right. But I guess that's affiliated, not official FSGW programs.
Right.
Okay, because
But
there
that's
are.
okay. We tend to advertise all folk events in our newsletter. Um, and then sometimes we co-sponsor things.
And one event I was curious about is the Friday night dance at Glen Echo. That's really popular.
Yep. Yeah. So FHGW works with the FND people. Um,
And FND is Glen Echo, right?
yeah. Yeah.
And the Friday night dance has the open band, which I think is kind of cool to mention because anybody can go and play with the band and learn how to accompany dancers.
Yeah. Typically for other dances, we would hire well-known bands that come from all over the place. And that will sometimes attract attendees if they know the group, like Le Vent du Nord or Froghammer. But the Friday night one, you're right. And also at the Mini Fest, we used to have a dance jam where people could open band, where you could sit in and play. But I'm not sure we're doing that anymore. So our job right now, well, my job right now is to put on the 43rd Washington Folk Festival in August. And also in the bigger realm is to keep the Folklore Society alive and make sure that they're offering lots of great events that people attend.
You mentioned a couple of people that performed at the folk festivals and before they hit it big. Uh, what are some of the other names that we might recognize that kind of got their start with the folklore society?
I don't know about got their start, but Kathy Fink and Tom Paxton are
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
two that immediately spring to mind.
Right. So I know for sure that Mary Chapin performed before she was big, but we've had other people like Christals Bacon, who performs at the Kennedy Center and is a Grammy winner. Uh, Also, I'll mention this while on the topic, that because all of our performers play for free, what we try to offer them obviously is exposure. We had about 6,000 people come to the festival last year, so they might get a much bigger crowd than I would in playing in some venue. And then some of those people have been hired. For example, one of the people on our programming committee, her name is Donna Fletcher, used to program the holiday market downtown at Christmas time. And so she would basically, all of the people at the Washington Folk Festival would be auditioning for her to get a paying gig at the holiday market. Um, or some of the dance teams that come in might recruit or get applicants, people who are interested in learning, going to their school.
And there's the Archie Edwards Blues Workshop, which a lot of, I think Donna came up through that. There's
Mm-hmm.
a group that meets regularly to just learn and jam blues.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
As diverse as this area is, are there any folk music groups or types that we've probably never heard, but you just think everybody should know about this?
Two Guyanese sisters in Arlington, and I'm really bad at names, but one of them is an Ingrid. They're from British Guyana, and they're incredible singers and instrumentalists, and they've been at the Walter Reed Acoustic Cafe. And oh, if I could remember their names, Ingrid
I
and
need to know this.
yeah, Oh, Ingrid was your comptroller. She was Arlington's comptroller for many years, and she retired recently.
Okay.
Oh, darn! What is
Are
her
you
All
name?
right. Well,
thinking of Ingrid, that was the controller, did you say?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I know they're twins.
Yeah, they're twins and they're incredible musicians. They're wonderful.
Yeah, I know their last name. I'm on LinkedIn with them,
Yeah,
with her.
yeah.
I'm
And
drawing a blank. Let me
yeah,
go to
me
link.
too.
Yeah,
I'm getting
Ingrid Malloy.
yeah, Malloy. Yeah, she was
Malloy.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't have a direct answer for your question. I would say that not every group will play for free. So, for
Mhm.
example, even though Silver Spring has the biggest Ethiopian population outside of Ethiopia, we've never been able to get an Ethiopian band to play. Um,
It's
so,
Morroy, Morroy.
Maroy, you're right. And Judith. It's Judith and Ingrid Maroy.
Right.
M-O.
okay.
I'll write it in the chat. And I'll mute myself.
The other group that we're trying to find to play at the Washington Folk Festival would be a go-go group, because that is obviously indigenous to Washington, D.C. But we haven't found one that isn't so big, like Rare Essence. They're too big for us. Um, or another group that would play. So we're still working on that, but we don't give up. We thought we were underrepresented in Africa last year, so we're working on that. And also, we are collaborating with the Maryland government. So last year, we collaborated with the Maryland government. We wanted them to give us a citation. Some of the elected officials came, and also Jamie Raskin came. So we're looking to increase our exposure with a lot of different people. But the Maryland government cooperation this year is going to be focused on the Middle East. So they have a commission that is focused on the Middle East, and we're hoping to find a whole bunch of musicians from those countries. And they're going to help us with that to program a stage.
Is there any contact
Okay.
with the Songwriters Association of Washington?
Saw,
Yeah.
what about them?
Is there any sort of formal contact with them, or people just sort of float between? Because that's another thing that's a useful resource for people who are interested in the music.
Mm-hmm. Not that I know of. We used to have a formal relationship with Focus,
Mm-hmm.
who does a lot of
Virginia concerts, yeah.
Yeah, in Virginia. But I'm not sure we're collaborating right now. But yeah, the Songwriters Association. When we get to programming the Washington Folk Festival, we'll look at the SAW winners, people who won prizes or for their songwriting. We'll also look at the Whammies to see who won awards at the Whammies, which is the Washington area music something something. So most of the events are either free or reasonably priced. I think, for example, to zoom in on grapevine storytelling is a suggestion of $20.
I was just going to ask for a show of hands of anybody on the audience who's been to the folk festival.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
There we go.
So the rest
Yeah,
of you need to get out there this year. It's
it's a
usually a lot
wonderful
of
event.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of work to put together. We had a budget problem in 2024, and we had a staff problem. People resigned, and so we had to get a few people to step up to the plate to be co-coordinators. That was me and another man named Ian Kishore, who's also on the Folklore Society board. to take over the whole thing, which is all logistics, tents, food, shuttles for the performers, publicity, programming, the program book, everything. So I thought, oh no, I've done way too much work. But once I got there to the festival, it was in October last year. It's just one of the most joyous places to be. People dancing in the, in the aisles, and it's just everybody's smiling.
And there's the crafters marketplace. I
Okay.
always enjoyed that.
We used to have a crafters in one of the in the bumper car pavilion for many, many, many years. But Glen Echo Park, as I mentioned earlier, we have a new relationship with them, and so they're not letting us do it this year because it's too close to their own. So hopefully next year we are going to get back to the normal weekend. We have the Washington Folk Festival, which is the weekend after Memorial Day. Hopefully we can have the crafts back because everything from jewelry to handmade dulcimers, it's just really wonderful part of the festival. So we're hoping to bring it back.
And if someone knows of an artist who they think is worthy, how would they go about getting FSGW to check them out?
Well, send to me publicity@fsgw.org or the programming, because I'm involved with the festival, but we have somebody else who's involved with concerts. And that is Betsy Platt. Let's see if I can get that. So if you go to fsgw.org, and you can go to About Us and click on our board. Everybody's email is there. And so you have a program chair, Betsy Platt, and you can click on to the right her email and you can send a message.
All right. Well, do we have any additional questions, comments? Diane says she participated with FSGW in the 70s and later. It's time to get back into it. She said it's
I
a
think so.
fabulous group. The dances and the festivals are wonderful. So,
Yep. Thank you for saying that.
I think it might be good to talk about accessibility at Glen Echo if people have questions about that.
Yeah, it's entirely accessible. So every stage, every parking, everything, and there are handicap spots too in the parking lot.
and what do people do if the parking lot is full?
Oh boy. So
Where?
I park up in the hills.
yeah, okay, so the history of that is back, way back when I was first started in the 80s, you could park on the streets in Glen Echo. And in fact, you could park, we parked on the shoulder of MacArthur Boulevard and went all the way down. And then the people of the town right there decided that they wished us not to do that anymore. And so we started investing in a shuttle bus that would take people to and from a parking deck in Bethesda. It cost a lot of money to set that up. So as we were recovering from budget issues and staffing issues, we decided to take a risk and just have parking at Glen Echo. But about 4,000 people come to Glen Echo's biggest events, and they all park there. So I'm throughout the day. So I'm not sure we turned anybody away last year by not having the shuttle. But we do bus in all of the performers from a different place because there would be, we had hundreds of performers. We probably would have ran out of parking had we had them park at the park. So we have them park in a different place and then bus them in.
And Diane commented that some people bike there, so that's another option.
Yep, if you happen to be right there, somewhat close.
All right. So we have any other questions, comments? So I think we've got your, fsgw.org for
Hmm.
anybody that wants to check it out and read the newsletter, things like that.
Yes, please do. And not only is it music, obviously music and dancing is just it's transportative, as I say, getting us out of the element into community and sharing the beauty of song and dance.
All right. Well, with that, I guess we'll go ahead and stop recording.